Hi guys! Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap-up. In March I read 10 books, which is still not a lot for me, but I got my audiobooks back. I finally went to the library and paid them money for things that my tax dollars should be paying for, but whatever. It means I have access to my audiobooks again. So I have several checked out that I will hopefully be getting to very soon. I had a long list of holds that immediately came in when I got it. So that was exciting. So now I just have to decide which one of those I want to start first. But for my books this month, we're going to start out with possibly the best book I have read all year. This might stay the best book I have read all year. Not sure. We'll see. But that is The Man Who Was Thursday by G.K. Chesterton. So this book is about a man, I believe he's an artist. What is he? Hang on. I believe he's a poet. Yes. Okay. Yes, he is a poet. So, a poet who is recruited by the police to be a spy on a group of anarchists in London. And he immediately manages to weasel his way into their high council. And I don't want to say any more than that. This might be too much. I don't know. But it's his desperate fight to stop this anarchist movement from taking over. And that's all I think I can say. It was so good. I read this for Anne's Reading the Classics Challenge. The prompt was a religious classic. Obviously, it was a Christian book. And, yeah, I wasn't actually sure it would be. And, it had, classics typically have, the random mentions of God throughout, or going to church or something. But then the ending happened. And the ending was so good. And the ending, it was very Christian in the ending. So, lots of twists, lots of things I did not expect, but incredible book. I recommend it. It's odd, but I really recommend it. It's really, really good. And that was a book on my 30 by 30, so I got that marked off, which is wonderful. I like marking those books off. I've been trying to use Anne's challenge for that, honestly, because I have a lot of classics on my 30 by 30. My toddler just yelled for a loud moment from the other room. I have no idea why. Anyways, the next book that I finished, this put me in a month-long reading slump almost, because it took me forever to read it, because it was boring. And that is Beyond the Summerland by L.B. Graham. I will be unhauling this, so just count this as me unhauling it. So, this book. How do I explain this book? It's a fantasy world. It starts out with, the Satan character getting the humans to follow him, and then it jumps forward several hundred years. The first part has felt like the human character from the first part ought to be mentioned later. I don't think he was. Or if he was, I don't remember it. So I'm going to have to talk about spoilers, though, with this book, I think, eventually. I don't really know how to explain this book without giving spoilers. So this group of young people who are special people. I'm not sure why these people in particular are special, but they are special people. Not like they're, it's not like elves versus humans. It's just different, like a different group of people, a specific group of people are special. They live among the rest of the people. It's not like this is a separate group. Called the Novana. The young people of those people, when they're 18 to 26, it's every 7 years there's this event where all the 18 to 26-year-olds, I think that's right, I think that's the right age range and the right time. Basically, it hits once, where everybody will go when they are between those ages. It will fall within those ages for everybody. If that makes sense. It's timed correctly. And the main character, he's a sweet kid. Nothing really much against him. Wasn't that connected to him. He was fine. Very much knockoff Luke Skywalker kind of character. Except he wasn't an orphan, which was nice. That was actually kind of nice. I liked his dad. I liked him okay. Again, none of the characters were all that interesting. Except for the guy who had a tiger. He was kind of cool. I liked him. But also because he had a tiger. And the prophet guy, the blind guy on the cover. He was cool too. So, okay, now I'm going to give a couple spoilers, but honestly, I gave this book 2 stars. I don't really recommend it. It was boring and the ending was terrible. So, spoilers now. For 2 things in particular, one that is mildly bothered me and one that really bothered me. So they go to this evil place where Satan had lived. Yeah, basically. And they meet a guy there, and main character has been told by prophet guy that main character is also a prophet. I'm not using their names. I don't care to remember them. Her name is Wyla. His is Joraim or something. I don't know how to say their names, so I'm just not going to say them. Anyway, main character guy who has been told he is a prophet has this bad feeling when they meet a random man who is shipwrecked on Satan Island. So, yeah, in my opinion, that is a good reason to be suspicious of someone. And main character guy is very suspicious of random man who has been shipwrecked on Satan Island and has lived there for the past several years. But random man is fine. He never does anything. I really feel like he should have done something. Like, Chekhov's gun was put over the mantle and they just forgot about it. Either that or the powder got wet. I don't know. But Chekhov's gun did not fire, and it definitely should have. Okay, the other thing, and this is the worst part. Okay, so Wyla is the girl on the cover. I'm presuming that's who that is. She's the main female character, so, like, that would make sense. Also, the problem that I had with it is that halfway through the book, when it finally got interesting, we randomly have Wyla's point of view, and, like, this probably should have been a clue, honestly, to what was going to happen in the ending. Because we had not had anyone's point of view except for Joraim the entire first half, and then all of a sudden we have Wyla's point of view, and I'm like, why are we in your head? What happened here? I don't remember there being anyone else's point of view, at least, except for the prologue, because prologue was thousands of years earlier, but anyways. So, there is a guy who has met Wyla a few years before, and is in love with her, and he and Joraim are friends. There is a problem because Wyla is not in love with this guy, and then Wyla and Joraim meet, and they fall in love. But this guy is not happy about it, but they put their differences aside to fight the big battle. Okay, great, fine, everything is normal. Except, then they go back to the special place where they all are, and Joraim and Wyla get married, and they have a honeymoon and stuff, and it's really sweet. I was like, yay, whatever, this is probably going to be a 3-star book. And then, the guy who was in love with Wyla murders Joraim in cold blood. On the last page before the epilogue, he dies. The main character of the book dies. I was so mad. The epilogue is him taking his body back to his parents. Oh, and Wyla's pregnant. We'd find that out in the epilogue. And, which is really sad. Joraim didn't even know. I didn't even like the guy all that much, but, like, he didn't deserve that. And then I was like, so maybe I need to read the next book to see what happens. And then the next book is 17 years in the future. I strongly suggest you don't bother with this book. It was, yeah. So there's my rant about that one. So, yeah. 2 stars. Definitely unhauling. Okay, then I read, I'm just going to talk, I read one of these after I read some other books, but I'm just going to talk about the series together. I read The Battle of Lookout Mountain by Gilbert Morris, Encounter at Cold Harbor by Gilbert Morris, Fire Over Atlanta by Gilbert Morris, and Bring the Boys Home by Gilbert Morris. Now, you may notice something about that author, is that I read a book of his last month and gave it 2 stars. I did. Yeah, I did. But that was biblical fiction, and I like this series. And so I thought maybe historical fiction is okay, because here's the thing. Historical inaccuracies in historical fiction, I will accept a lot more than in biblical fiction. Like, they're a lot worse in biblical fiction. Like, if you get General Robert E. Lee out of character, I'm not going to care all that much. If you get Noah out of character, I have a big problem. So, that's my explanation for why that was that way. Anyways, I gave these, did I give them all 5 stars? Let me pull up my iPad and double check. I gave Battle of Lookout Mountain 5 stars. It was a nice continuation of the series. Encounter at Cold Harbor, I gave 5 stars. But I was getting impatient because Leah and Jeff should have gotten together about 5 books ago. Okay, I only gave Fire Over Atlanta 4 stars because Leah had the worst plot, maybe ever. And then I gave Bring the Boys Home 5 stars. It was nice. So, okay. So, Leah in book... I've been reading that series for like 15 years, so it was really nice to close it out finally. So, basically, I really loved the series. It was great. Nice character development, nice new characters introduced in the last few books. I just really hated the fact that in book 9, the only reason it's the only one of the series not to get 5 stars, including, like, I gave the book where there are like 6 active love triangles. this series, if you hate love triangles, this series is not for you. There are so many love triangles going on. One of these books, I think it was 3, had like 2 or 3, had like 6 active love triangles going on. Too many. That's too many. That is way too many active love triangles. So, way too many love triangles, period. Active or inactive. The whole series has a few, but like, that was egregious. They do introduce actually another one later on. I do wish that there had been more permanent consequences. Like he does kind of lampshade it a little bit, where he says in the end of the lampshade, by the way, in case you've not heard that term, because I only learned it as a teenager or something. I don't know. I feel like I didn't always know what that term was when I feel like I should have. Lampshade is when you acknowledge a flaw in in your own thing. So what I mean by this is, he says in the book, not many people were lucky enough to have had everybody make it back like we did. So nobody died in the series. It's a middle grade series. I guess that makes sense. I kind of wish somebody would have died just for realistic sake, but it was a good series. I really liked it. Glad I finally finished it. Yeah. I really love the characters. It's a very nostalgic series, even though I hadn't read those when I was a kid. I read the first few several times. Yeah, I really like that series. So, I did want to point out one historical inaccuracy that I just thought was kind of funny based on last month's big rant about the biblical inaccuracies in Gilbert Morris's book. I've got the little baby, so she's making some noises. She's making herself heard. This isn't technically an inaccuracy, but I think it's unlikely. So, basically, there was a wedding, and at the wedding, they played the wedding march, Here Comes the Bride, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that song. It's possible, because it was written in 1850, but it wasn't popularized until 1858. And it was popularized in Europe. And I highly doubt that something made popular in Europe only 2 years before the Civil War, before the blockade came up, and the blockade is very well known in this book. I just highly doubt that would have been able to make it into the Confederacy before, like, within, 6 years? Because I think it was 1854. When it happened. So, like, within 6 years, would that have happened? I don't know. So, technically, I guess possible, but I highly doubt that within 6 years they were playing the wedding march at weddings in the Confederacy. Something tells me that seems very unlikely. I also read the King's Children series by Sean Lamb. This series goes in the middle of the Alon series that I've talked about on here a lot. It goes in between books 2 and 3, and it was just, I hadn't read these before again, but these were so nostalgic. Just seeing these characters again, being in this world again. I listened to the audiobooks, which the author has on YouTube, and that was really great. I really liked the audiobooks. They were really good. She read them. There's a couple words that I'm like, excuse me, is that how you say that? That is not how I have ever said that. So I'm probably not going to fix it, though, let's be honest. I've been reading these books for over 10 years. My pronunciation is ingrained. But, so Nisi and the Apples and Tristine's Dorgareth adventure. You can tell which word I've been saying wrong, can't you? And, what was book 3? Nigel's Broken Promise. Nigel's Broken Promise, the plot was kind of dumb, but I do love Nigel and Tristine's relationship, so I gave it a pass. But yeah, just really sweet books. I really liked this series. I'm glad I finally read it. And then, last book I read was I read was Bring the Boys Home, book 10 of the Bonnets and Bugle series. But the other book that I finished today was More Than Conquerors by Carol Towris. Apparently this is book 2 in a series. Did not know this. I really liked this book. I actually gave it 5 stars, which I don't normally give to historical or biblical fiction, like romance books. Those usually don't get it, but I really felt like the historical details, as far as I was aware, they seemed very accurate. And, it was it was a sweet romance. I loved the main characters. They were both really wonderful. And, yeah, really liked it. Really, really liked that book. So, it was very good, very good. Okay, so challenges real quick. So, Anne's challenge, obviously I've said, was Man Who Was Thursday. Journey Through Time, Alma's challenge, was a middle grade story or a child's tale. I read a middle grade, read Bonnets and Bugles series. Um, oh, I actually don't know what I'm going to do for Oshina's challenge. Um, I'll come back to that. Chantel's was Weapon on the cover, so Battle of Lookout Mountain, Beyond the Summerland, either one of those count. Jeanette at Jane Reed's. One of them was a debut book, which is why I read Beyond the Summerland this month. What was the other book for this month? What was the other challenge? I don't remember. I read it, whatever it was. I know I read it. I'll have to look. Oh, Borrowed or Gifted. Okay. So, I probably had a random book in here. I will actually throw in More Than Conquerors because I definitely borrowed that from the library. I don't always keep track of what books of mine are borrowed or gifted, so that one I know I borrowed it. So, and then for cat stories, obviously I read More Than Conquerors for the new plot because Carol Towers was a new to me author. And then for the Winnie the Pooh challenge, I filled in squares, but I don't remember which squares. I will just update you on Oshina's and on Katie's when at the end of the year, probably when I fill up the boards, because yeah, I don't really remember all the time which prompt I'm trying to fill. The ones with the monthly prompts, like specific months go with specific prompts, it's a lot easier for me. But anyways, so that's my March wrap up. My favorite book of the month was definitely The Man Who Was Thursday, but I also really liked More Than Conquerors and the Alon books just because they were so sweet and precious. What was your favorite book of the month? Please let me know down in the comments below, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.